At the Hayes Easter dinner, Patricia filled her wine glass and aimed a thin smile down the long table at her youngest daughter.
Barbara, dear, we're so proud. You spend your weekends doing soup kitchen work for the homeless, don't you?
Barbara didn't flinch. Her fork stayed motionless over her plate. She had learned to chew glass in silence.
It's so noble, really. I mean, someone has to ladle broth for the homeless.
She's doing good work. Nothing wrong with helping people.
Oh, Robert, let's be honest. At least she's found a way to fill her empty life with something meaningful.
They think I ladle soup. They have no idea what I really do.
She had led Marines into combat for 2 decades. Tonight, she was just the family disappointment.
Let them laugh. In a few days, I'll be retired and none of this will matter.
Just as dessert was about to be served, a low rumble began to roll up the street. The vibration climbed through the floorboards, a low, persistent tremor that rattled the silverware and made Patricia's wine glass tremble against the china.
Well, this is unexpected. Did you arrange some entertainment, Barbara? A color guard for Easter?
Entertainment? That sounds more like an invasion. Robert, what are those?
Those are Marine Corps transport vehicles. Why would they be stopping here?
Barbara set her napkin down slowly, the linen sliding from her fingers, as if it weighed 10 pounds. She knew what was outside before she looked.
They actually came, after I specifically asked them not to. This is going to be a disaster.
She rose and walked to the window, joining the jostle of relatives. Below, Marines were lining up in tight, silent ranks, their uniforms crisp and deathly serious.
This is absurd. Someone tell them this is private property. Catherine, get my phone, and don't let them damage the azaleas.
Barbara's hand found the windowsill. She recognized the battalion sergeant major standing at the head of the formation.
That's Sergeant Major Reed. He didn't come alone. He brought the entire battalion. This isn't a social call.
The formation outside stood at rigid attention, 200 Marines in service alphas, their collective silence more intimidating than any shouted order.
This is my property, and I will not be intimidated by some military parade. Barbara, you must know something about this. You spend all your time with these people.
Maybe it's a thank you ceremony for the soup kitchen. The military does PR now. They probably want a photo with the local charity worker.
Before anyone could respond, 2 measured knocks struck the front door. Robert opened the door. On the porch stood Lieutenant Colonel Jennings, his uniform immaculate, his expression unreadable.
Excuse the intrusion, sir. I am looking for Miss Barbara Hayes. May I have a moment of her time?
This is about her volunteer work, isn't it? I told her to be careful. Did one of her homeless friends steal something? She's always too trusting.
They all assume the worst, even now. Every time, they assume I've failed. Let them wonder a little longer.
Barbara slipped past her mother, pulled open the screen door, and stepped onto the porch, letting it close softly behind her.
Ma'am, the battalion insisted on coming despite your orders. They wanted to see you one last time before you leave.
Barbara's jaw tightened as she glanced back toward the house where her mother was already pressing against the screen.
If they see this, the whole fragile lie collapses. I am not ready for that conversation.
Barbara, what is he handing you? Is that a citation for your volunteer work? You'd better not be wasting the military's time with this little stunt.
Maybe it's a lifetime supply of canned soup. Very prestigious.
Jennings placed a leather-bound folder in Barbara's hands. The gold Marine Corps emblem caught the light. She looked past him at the formation. 200 Marines standing at attention, eyes fixed on the porch.
They need their commanding officer. I owe them this much.
Without another word to her family, Barbara walked off the porch and toward her sedan parked at the curb. She opened the trunk and pulled out a garment bag. Silver Eagle insignia glinted through the clear plastic. Barbara carried the garment bag to the side of the house, out of sight from the formation, and unzipped it with slow, deliberate hands.
What on earth is she doing? Is she playing dress-up with military gear? This is so embarrassing.
Oh, Mother, don't be surprised. She's always trying to be something she's not. probably thinks it'll impress them.
Once I put this on, there's no taking it back. They'll have to know. And I'll have to live with their judgment.
She slid on the khaki shirt, creases sharp as blades, and fastened the silver eagle at her collar with steady fingers. When she stepped back into view, a murmur rippled through the formation. Then a deep, reverent silence fell.
That's a colonel's uniform. Barbara is a colonel? That can't be right.
Don't be ridiculous, Robert. It's a costume. She probably borrowed it from a thrift shop. No daughter of mine is a colonel.
Jennings snapped to attention and saluted her. The entire battalion followed in a single motion, 200 hands cutting the air.
They came to say goodbye to their commander. Not to the soup kitchen volunteer. This is my real family.
Jennings lifted the folder and read the words that would make the impossible real for everyone watching.
By order of the Commandant of the Marine Corps, Colonel Barbara Hayes, you are hereby retired from active service, effective this Sunday, April 21st.
No one in the Hayes house breathed. The words hung in the air heavier than the turkey and stuffing on the table.
This has to be a mistake. Someone must have the wrong person. Barbara, tell them they've got the wrong house.
Before Barbara could answer, Sergeant Major Reed stepped between the porch and the open door, his eyes fixed on Patricia.
Ma'am, I am going to have to ask you to remain inside. This is an official military ceremony.
27 years? She's been lying to us for nearly 3 decades? About everything?
It wasn't a lie. It was survival. They never gave me room to be anything else.
The formation executed a flawless present arms, a salute reserved for retiring commanders. The sound of rifles snapping into position echoed off the houses. Patricia's face went white, her wine glass trembling again, this time from shock, not anger. She had never seen her daughter like this. As the rifles came down, Jennings nodded to the sergeant major, and the first notes of the Marine Corps hymn rolled across the lawn from a portable speaker.
They have no right to hold me in my own house. I am her mother. This is a family matter, not a military exercise.
Ma'am, I suggest you lower your voice. This ceremony is for the colonel, and she has earned every second of it.
Patricia recoiled as if struck, but her glare shifted to the ribbons on Barbara's chest. The Bronze Star, the combat action ribbon.
Those are real, aren't they? She's been in combat. How could we not know?
You never asked. You never wanted to know.
Jennings presented Barbara with a folded American flag and a shadow box containing her medals and insignia, a lifetime of service distilled into wood and glass. She accepted it without a word, her fingers tracing the eagle emblem on the box's lid, and for a moment, the world outside the formation ceased to exist.
We should go out there. We should apologize.
Apologize? For what? She's the one who lied to us for decades. This isn't a victory. It's a betrayal.
She sees me now, but she still sees a betrayal, not a daughter who served.
The ceremony wasn't over, but Barbara could feel the cracks spreading through the glass of the dining room window.
Ma'am, your family is getting loud. Do you want me to shut the door and secure the perimeter?
Negative, Sergeant Major. This is my family. I've handled worse. I'll handle them too.
She turned back to the formation, her knuckles white on the shadow box, the ceremony waiting.
She's not even going to glance our way? Like we're the enemies here? Unbelievable.
Maybe we should feel some shame, Catherine. We've been cruel to her for years.
Cruel. I gave her everything. She's the liar who built a secret life while we thought she was a loser.
Barbara heard the words through the glass, but the sting felt muted now, distant, like an old scar.
She still thinks I am the liar, but I've never been more honest than when I wore this uniform.
The ceremony continued, but the air shifted. Every Marine felt the weight of the showdown building behind the porch screen.
Look at her, Robert. She won't even look at us. She's ashamed of what she's done.
Or maybe she's decided we're beneath her now. Colonel Hayes doesn't have time for us little people.
That's enough, Catherine. She's not beneath us. She's a Marine colonel. We're the ones who look small.
Don't you lecture me, Robert. You never stood up for me, and now you want to defend her.
They're clawing at each other. And I am not even in the room. This is what my silence bought them.
Jennings stepped forward with the retirement certificate, the formal words that would seal a career.
Just a few more minutes. Then I walk back inside and face them. No uniform can protect me from that.
The formation began the slow, precise ritual of dismissal, Marines stepping into perfect columns to march away. Barbara watched them go, her jaw tight, the shadow box heavy in her hands, knowing the hardest battle still waited inside. The last Marine truck rounded the corner, and the sudden silence felt louder than the marching had been. Barbara turned toward the house, but before she could take a step, the front door flew open. Patricia burst onto the porch, her arms wide, her voice a theatrical warble.
Barbara, my darling, I had no idea. I am so proud of my daughter, the Colonel. Let me introduce myself to your Marines. They should know who raised you.
She tried to push past Barbara toward the street, but Sergeant Major Reed was already there, his hand up like a stop sign.
Ma'am, step back. The ceremony is over, and frankly, you've done enough damage today.
Damage? I am her mother. I have every right to be part of her big moment. Don't you dare push me aside.
You have no right, Mother. Not after the way you've spoken to me. Not after today.
After today. What does that mean? You lied to us. You let us think you were nothing.
She still can't see past her own pride. Every truth I give her will be a weapon in her hand.
She turned her back on her mother and walked toward the side door, the shadow box clutched like a shield. The stairs creaked under Barbara's weight as she climbed to her old bedroom, the shadow box, a cold anchor under her arm. The room looked smaller than she remembered. Pink wallpaper, a single bed, and a bookshelf filled with forgotten school trophies.
This room was a tomb of who they wanted me to be. I never belonged here.
She set the shadow box on the bed and noticed a dusty wooden cigar box on the shelf, something out of place. The lid came off with a creak, revealing a stack of envelopes, all unopened, all bearing the Marine Corps eagle. She pulled out the top one, dated 12 years ago. The letter inside commended her parents for their daughter's heroism in Afghanistan.
They knew. All this time, they knew. She didn't just ignore me. She hid this from everyone, even from Dad.
Beneath the letters lay a yellowed note in Patricia's careful handwriting. If she wants this life, she can have it. I won't let her make a fool of this family.
She wasn't protecting the family. She was protecting her image, her perfect, obedient daughter who never outshone her.
She stood up, the letters in one hand, the shadow box in the other, and walked back toward the stairs, not to pack, but to deliver a verdict. The dining room table was still cluttered with half-eaten desserts when Barbara pushed the door open and strode in. The letters clutched in her fist.
Well, look who decided to grace us with her presence. Finally ready to explain your little theatrical stunt.
Barbara didn't answer. She tossed the stack of envelopes onto the table so they scattered across the white tablecloth like fallen soldiers.
What is all this? Barbara, what have you done?
I didn't do anything, Dad. These are letters the Marine Corps sent you 12 years ago, commending me for heroism. Mom hid them, she knew.
That's absurd. I would never. Those must be forgeries. She's trying to turn you all against me.
Mother, stop. I recognize the letterhead. This is official correspondence. You lied to all of us.
Patricia, is this true? You swore to me you'd support her. All these years, you let me think she was a failure.
She chose to abandon this family for a uniform. I had to protect our name. You don't understand. I was shielding all of you from the shame.
No, Mother. You were shielding yourself, and now everyone knows. I am done explaining. I am going to finish my dessert, and then I am leaving this house for good.
Barbara pulled out her chair, the scrape of wood against tile, the only sound in the room, and sat down before her plate of untouched ham and pie. She picked up her fork and cut into the ham, cold now, congealed, and chewed slowly, her eyes fixed on the middle distance.
Barbara, please say something. You can't just eat and leave us like this.
Mother, be quiet. You've done enough.
Robert reached a hand toward Barbara's arm, but stopped short, his fingers trembling an inch from the sleeve of her uniform. Barbara didn't flinch. She finished the ham, then moved to the small slice of carrot cake, eating with the same mechanical precision. When the last crumb was gone, she set the fork down with a soft click and blotted her mouth with the napkin.
The meal was fine, Dad. Thank you.
She stood, the chair legs scraping again, and gathered the shadow box and the scattered letters, leaving her plate empty and the family frozen. Without a backward glance, she walked out of the dining room and started up the stairs to pack. Barbara hadn't even opened her suitcase when the door behind her creaked. Patricia stood in the doorway, her composure shattered, mascara streaked.
You can't leave like this. Not after everything I've done for you. I am your mother. I deserve to be part of your life.
Deserve? You hid letters that celebrated my service. You called me a soup kitchen volunteer at dinner to make me look small. You don't get to claim motherhood now.
I was scared. You were always so different, so independent. I thought if people knew what you really were, they'd leave me behind.
She still makes it about her. Even now, she can't say she's proud without measuring it against her own fear. Then you should have been brave. But you weren't. And now I have to be brave enough to walk away from all of you.
She unzipped the small suitcase and began folding her civilian clothes, the ones she'd arrived in, on top of the shadow box.
If you go now, don't come back. Don't expect me to welcome you when you realize what you've thrown away.
I don't expect anything from you anymore. That's the gift you've given me.
She lifted the suitcase and walked past her mother without breaking stride, descending the stairs to where the rest of her broken family waited. At the foot of the stairs, Robert and Catherine stood like strangers at a funeral, their faces pale, their guilt filling the foyer.
Barbara, please, don't do this. We can fix it. I should have stood up for you years ago. Let me try now.
It's too late, Dad. Some things can't be fixed with apologies. I am going to start a life where I am not a punchline.
Barbara, I was awful to you. I just followed Mother's lead. I am sorry. I am so sorry.
I believe you, Catherine. But believing you doesn't change 20 years. I hope you can be better without me.
Patricia stumbled down the last few steps, her hand reaching for Barbara's sleeve, her voice cracking with desperation.
You can't leave me. I'll have nothing. I'll be alone in this house with my failure.
You'll have exactly what you built, Mother. A house where you were so afraid of being overshadowed that you destroyed any light that threatened you.
Barbara opened the front door and stepped into the fading light, the shadow box visible in the open suitcase she set in the trunk. She didn't look back as she drove away. In the rearview mirror, the house grew smaller until it was just another dot in a neighborhood she no longer belonged to. 3 weeks later, Barbara sat at a rented desk in Jacksonville, North Carolina, a laptop open to a consulting contract, the shadow box on a shelf behind her. A thick envelope arrived, postmarked from her mother's address. Patricia's frantic handwriting covered the front.
She's sent 5 letters. Each one blames me, then begs, then threatens. I stopped reading after the 3rd.
She held the unopened letter over the trash can, her fingers steady.
If I open this, I open the door, and I am not strong enough to close it again.
The letter dropped into the bin. She turned back to her work without a second glance. That night, she called Sergeant Major Reed. His gruff voice answered on the second ring.
I made the right choice, didn't I? Leaving her behind?
Ma'am, you made the only choice that lets you survive. Some families are just the people who show up.
She'll only see me again when she's in the ground. And I'll be there in uniform because that's who I am.
6 months into her new life, the call that Barbara had been dreading finally came. Her father's name lit up her phone screen.
Barbara, it's your mother. She's had a heart attack. The doctors say it's serious. She keeps asking for you.
I knew this day would come. She wants me at her deathbed. After everything, she wants absolution. Dad, I can't come. I made a promise to myself that Easter, I am not going back into that house.
She's dying, Barbara. Can't you forgive her? I know she was cruel, but she's your mother.
Forgiveness doesn't mean I have to stand in that house and let her hurt me one last time. Tell her I am praying for her, but I won't come. I said my goodbye that day, and I am not reopening that wound.
She ended the call and sat motionless for a long moment, the shadow box on the shelf catching the late sun like a silent witness.
I've buried so many of my Marines. I know how to grieve. I'll grieve her when the time comes, but she won't break me again.
4 months later, a crisp white envelope arrived with a simple note. Patricia Hayes, 1949 to 2024. The funeral would be Saturday. She drove to the cemetery in her service, Alpha's, the same uniform she'd worn on the Easter afternoon when everything broke. She stood at the edge of the mourners. A sea of black, her khaki and green, a stark contrast, the silver eagle catching the pale light. Catherine took a hesitant step forward, but Barbara raised her hand, a slight motion, and Catherine froze. Robert, gaunt and gray, walked to her, his voice trembling.
I am glad you came. She would have wanted you here.
I am not here for her, Dad. I am here to close a chapter.
She pulled a single white rose from inside her jacket and laid it gently on the polished wood. She stood there for a long moment, her face a mask of quiet finality, then turned and walked away. Sergeant Major Reed stood at the edge of the gathering, in uniform, watching. He gave her a slow nod as she passed. She didn't look back. As she walked to the car, the wind lifted the edges of her cover, but she kept her eyes forward, toward the road ahead. The sedan ate the miles back toward Jacksonville, the road a gray ribbon under an iron sky. She pulled over at a familiar ridge, an overlook where she'd once taught a young lieutenant about perspective. She stepped out, unbuttoned her collar, and pulled a second white rose from her pocket, a bud she had kept for herself.
She spent her life scared of being second place. She never saw that I wasn't trying to beat her. I was just trying to survive her.
She placed the rose on the low stone wall and rested her hands on the cold rock.
How are you holding up, Colonel?
I am fine, Sergeant Major. Actually fine. For the first time, I don't feel angry.
That's the uniform doing its work, ma'am. It doesn't just cover the body, it covers the heart.
I'll be back in Jacksonville by nightfall. Coffee's on me.
She hung up, looked once more at the rose on the stone, and walked back to the car, pointing it east. The office was dark when she unlocked the door, the shadow box still on the shelf where she'd left it. A small white envelope sat on her keyboard, postmarked from Camp Lejeune. Inside was a simple note in Jennings' handwriting. Colonel, the battalion wanted you to have this. You'll always be one of us.
After everything, the uniform still fits. It's the only family I never had to hide from.
She opened the shadow box and set the folded flag aside, placing Jennings' note beneath the bronze star.
Evening, Colonel. You still good for coffee? The mess hall just got a new machine.
Wouldn't miss it, Sergeant Major. I'll be there at 07.
We'll keep a seat warm for you. It's been too quiet without your morning brief.
She hung up and looked out the window at the last ribbon of orange fading over the Carolina pines, the silence no longer lonely.
She spent 30 years trying to make me small, but I am still standing in the uniform I earned with the family I built.
The next morning, Barbara pulled on her service alphas, with the same precision she always had. The fabric still crisp, the silver eagle catching the light. She slid the shadow box into a tote bag, the letter from Jennings tucked inside, and headed out the door. The streets of Jacksonville were quiet as she drove, the Carolina sun soft on the windshield. At the Camp Lejeune gate, the young Marine on duty recognized the eagle and snapped to attention. A sharp salute. Barbara returned it without hesitation, the motion as natural as breathing.
Right on time, Colonel. The mess sergeant saved you the good mug.
I appreciate that, Sergeant Major. Old habits.
They sat at a corner table, the clatter of trays and voices around them, but in their small space, it was a family reunion. Barbara sipped her coffee and looked out the window at the parade ground where new Marines were drilling under the morning sun. She had spent a lifetime hiding who she was, Now, she was exactly where she belonged. She finished her coffee and stood, the shadow box in her tote lighter than it had ever been. Reed walked her to the door without a word, matching her stride as they'd done 1,000 times. Outside, a squad of Marines passed, each one nodding or saluting as they recognized the eagle on her collar. Barbara returned every gesture, her hand steady, her face peaceful. She paused at the edge of the parade ground, looking back at the flag snapping in the morning breeze, the same flag that had flown over her retirement, over her grief, over her freedom. She didn't need to speak. The uniform said everything. She walked on, toward the parking lot, where her car waited to carry her into the life she had finally claimed. For the first time in years, she wasn't driving away from anything. She was driving home, and behind her, the echo of 200 Marines saluting still hung in the air, a promise kept.